We got some neat stuff done today. Did a lot of work with the entity system. So the way I had it before, or thought I had it, is there was just this big array of like entities, right? It's like, okay, this is all fine and dandy, you know. Maybe this one's a grid, this one's a player, and these ones are blocks, right? Just something like that. What I did is when you delete one of these, like let's say the player dies, right? It's like this is deleted, right? It gets added to like a linked list chain, which is just like a bunch of each of the entities like pointing to where the next like deleted entity is, right? So it's like I delete the player. So now like the free list, the list of like the next entities like points to the player. And let's say if I delete this block, right? What I do is I make it so that the free list points at this block and then this thing points at the player, right? And if I traverse these arrows, right? Like, okay, block and then player, right? I can get like all of the deleted elements of the array for when I need a new entity, right? When I need a new entity, it just grabs this the first element, right? Yoink. Theoretically, this means that like I can delete entities all I want and then those holes will be filled by new entities. Turns out none of that was happening at all. I had a bug in my code. Every time there was a new entity, it would ask for a new entity slot, no matter what. And so the number of entities would just keep expanding as you built more stuff. And there would keep being these like deleted holes in the list of entities, like there and there. And like those deleted entities would just stay deleted. That memory wouldn't be reused. The bug was, so for a bit of a side note, right? Like, okay, so when the player gets inside of like a med bay or something, right? Like the player gets inside of it. The player like holds like a reference, right? Like it remembers in its little noggin, like, oh, like okay, so this is the med bay that I'm in right now. So it knows where to put itself, right? But like the med bay can be destroyed or blown up, right? As often happens on the server right now. And so we need to make sure that like the way that we point to med bays is robust to like the thing that it's pointing to being deleted, right? So I have this system of like entity references where it's okay for like the entity that it's being pointed to spontaneously combust. You know, in this system, right, the entity reference, it has two elements. It has the generation of the entity, which we won't talk about, and then an indexed into this array of entities. So I made it right so that when an entity is deleted, the entity like pointing to it, remembering it, like if that was a medbay and this was a player, it would return like null. It's like, sorry, there's no entity here. This was happening for like the list of free things. Remember how like there's a thing that pointed to the next free thing? When I went to go grab the free thing, my system said there was nothing there, and so it just assumed it needed more memory. And so that was the bug I unraveled today and fixed. Successfully, I might add. Something else I did is like the player now respawns at the last medbay they were inside of. So you can be more base-like. However, your player information is not saved across like playthroughs. So like if you close the game or quit it and then rejoin, it's not going to remember that like which medbay was yours, right? I also have something else I've done today. The beginnings of proximity voice chat. Are you ready for this demo? Test. Hold on, let me disable my OBS recording my microphone. So now you're just hearing the output from the game. I am recording audio and streaming it back into the mic to the speaker. I think that's how this works. So it's almost done, right? You know, the microphone's just got some data, right? And then through some magical process, right? It like sends the information to the speaker. This is not very handmade. Like this is very black box. I don't know how mini audio works. I just know I send PCM frames and everything works out fine. I'm sure it won't bite me in the ass not knowing how things work later on. But anyways, first thing I gotta do is like measure how much data it is and if it's going to be a problem with the way I'm doing networking. I have a feeling I'm going to need to use like a compression codec, the cool kids call them these days. If you look at like the Discord application, they use what's called the Opus audio codec. So I googled what this is, right? I still don't really know what it is, but I think it would be helpful for what I'm trying to do, the proximity voice chat. I like googled libopus and we go to their website and it's making sense, right? I think what it does is it just takes those like the like data, right? It just takes this data and it like makes it smaller so that it can be sent over the network without like using all my bandwidth. So this is going to be tomorrow. End of tomorrow, it's very likely that proximity voice chat is done being implemented. This doesn't seem that bad unless I encounter some kind of hairy bug. But yeah, it's exciting, right? There's going to be no interface to select which microphone or speaker you want to use. You just got to set like the default speaker and mic in the Windows settings correctly. Because there's no UI in this game yet. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. This right now it's a little user hostile. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. Like and subscribe. And join the Discord to play the game. You could play it now. Play it now!